This mini tutorial video is going to be going over understanding basic shadow and light transitions, how much do you add, and how to find out. So if you're interested in that, keep watching. I recently released a tutorial sheet going over an input-based math formula that you could use with the opacity slider in black to find the value jumps. This sheet is uploaded to the community tab on my YouTube here and on most of my social medias if you would like to grab it. I decided since calculating the value jumps might be a bit complex for beginners to understand or people who weren't taught this method that I would also make this demonstration video to show you what's happening on your hue cube and what you should be thinking about while picking your color transitions. So as I explained on the sheet, objects exist within a 0 to 100 range of light and dark. What this looks like on your hue cube is 100% is pure white at the top and 0 is going to be pure black at the bottom here. We tend to perceive colors based on how they look to us in the light. So our base colors can be wherever on this hue cube, and we're going to be thinking about them as the parts of our object that are already in light. This is going to be our starting point for finding our shadow and our transitional shades. For this example, I had used this color. As a general rule, we tend to perceive areas in shadow to be 50% darker than areas in light. Using this general rule and treating the base color as our light marker and the bottom of the hue cube as our shadow marker, we can understand that our shadow tone should be at the 50% or halfway point of our base color in black. So again, in the simplest terms possible, your shadow is the midway point from your base color and black in this. There are lots of different lighting scenarios, so depending on yours, your shadow can be darker or it can be lighter than this, but this example is for setting up a basic 5-tone transition, so we're just doing it this way. Side planes are going to be your midway points from your lightest side shade and your shadow shade. So looking at the hue cube, we know our light is here and our shadow is here, so the midway point is going to be around here. Any transitional planes from that point on is going to be following the same formula. To add a transition to the side planes here, you're treating your lightest plane as your light marker and your darkest plane as your shadow marker, finding the midway point of these two shades. This method allows you to go through 5 different transitions, and in painting basic light, things usually stay within a max range of 5 tonal transitions anyway. If you set this up on a tonal strip, you'll see that that's exactly what you're getting. You can see your saturation on the hue cube from the left to right here. The further left it is, the more desaturated and gray it is, and the further right it is, the more saturated it becomes. General rules for materials that have diffused light, which is going to be most things, but not metals and golds or reflective surfaces, are that the lighter areas should be decreasing in saturation as they get lighter, and shadows should be increasing in saturation as they get darker. I mentioned on my sheet that I used black for the example on it and that the color tones were not correct on it. The reason I did that was because the math formula does focus on a value-based tonal scale and not a color one. I'm going to show you right now what should be happening with the color tones for it to be correct. So when color picking with your hue cube, you'd be going from a top left to bottom right diagonal. Top left if you are lightening your shades, and bottom right if you are darkening them. Tonal transitions can be very useful and important in showing different planes on geometrical objects in your paintings, so it's just good to know how to set this junk up. Again, lighting situations vary, keeping to a top-down diagonal when color picking and finding the middle points of your primary light and shadow tones is just the basic crap that you can follow to figure out some stuff and make it easier for you. That's about it for this one. Later.